Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the DGS Presents YouTube channel, Dead Game Society. Just a really quick episode this week. We did an episode a few days ago, but I thought I'd jump in with this one too because I ran across something that I thought would be fun to talk about that I remember back from when I was a kid, when we used to use the Deities. Oh, there we go. Deities and Demigods book.
There you go.
In the 1970s, and mine is like totally beat to crap, but it does include the Cthulhu and Melibonian mythos in there, so that's pretty cool. You had that book, right, when you were a kid? But yeah, when we were teenagers, we would flip through these, the book. It's from what, Jim Ward, and yeah, that's the newer one.
Yeah, I have the one with and without.
Okay, you have both of them. Okay, yeah, I have. Let's see. This was, I think, what Jim Ward and Rob Kuntz, I think, did this book. Yeah, and it was fun. It was kind of a wild, weird thing. And when we were kids, we would actually introduce some of these deities into our games. Sometimes as friends, sometimes as foes, and then we would get really wild, and we would actually pit the gods against each other and have these big battles and fights and everything. Even though that's pretty difficult to do, because I mean they're so powerful, some of them, that even adjudicating a battle between greater gods is just kind of hopeless. But we did anyway. We didn't care. But what I thought I would do today is I flipped through this thing a couple of days ago, and I'm like, what are the most powerful deities in this whole book? And if you pit them against each other, which ones would win? So I put together a list of 10. It's totally arbitrary. It's just kind of based on what I know about the rules, what I know about the game system and how things might play out. And then I just put together a list of 10, and I'm going to count backwards.
Well, hold on a minute. There's two missing. First off, you don't have Bowie on the list at all.
Well, it's because Bowie is
thunder and rock and roll.
Yeah, well, because they're not in the book. We'll save that for another.
This list is incomplete. All right, go on.
But anyway, so with that, we're going to start with number 10. I'm going to throw up number 10 here. At number 10, I have Hastur the Unspeakable, he who must not be named, the Master of Air, from the Cthulhu mythos. Now, why is this guy such badass? Well, if we look at his statistics, it's pretty obvious. You have a creature that is, 600 feet tall, that attacks as a 16 plus hit die monster and does 20 to 200 damage per strike. So this guy can rip out 400 hit points of damage per round, potentially. And he also has 50% magic resistance, and he's a 23rd level magic user and illusionist, just for good measure, just so he can throw some spells out there to, further enhance his attacks. The other cool thing about him is he can teleport anywhere on the prime material plane pretty much at will, and he regenerates 5 hit points per round. So he's just this gigantic monstrosity of a being and would be really formidable in combat. Okay. At number 9, I have Amaterasu, and she is the goddess of the sun from the Japanese mythos. Pretty cool, 400 hit points, infinite move. Now, we saw this back in the day. We're like, infinite move, and it talks about it a little bit in the book as basically being, they can go anywhere in the multiverse at any time that they want, right, without any sort of restriction, which is pretty wild. I don't know what that necessarily means for combat. I guess if they get in trouble, they just vanish, right, to some distant plane of reality, right, at will, or they could just appear right next to you and start attacking you at a moment's notice. She's immune to heat and fire. She has 75% magic resistance. She's 20th level cleric, 14th level druid, 20th level magic user illusionist, and a 15th level monk. So she can lay down the karate if she needs to. And
kung fu fighting, I like it.
Kung fu fighting, yeah. It says here in the description, it says that Amaterasu is able to touch anything and turn it into anything else. saving throws applicable only to divine beings. So she would just like basically change weapons and monsters or people attacking her into like flowers and birds.
Nice.
Pretty cool, right? She just like kind of snaps, boom, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so let's go to what's this number 8. Got to have Odin in there. Odin is pretty straightforward, right? He's got great armor class, -6, magical armor and everything, +3 or better weapon, magic weapon to hit him. 85% magic resistance. So that's a lot to get over. And then he has a lot of levels, right? In cleric and druid, right? 30th, 14th level druid. He's actually an 8th level ranger. He's a 30th level magic user. And then he has 25 on his stats across the board. Okay, so he's just maximum physical and mental powers, along with some intense magical weapons and telepathy and all these other things that he can do. So that is Odin. But not to be outdone, next we have Zeus. He's got some cool things. He has lightning bolts that he can basically shoot at you. He disdains the use of armor, but will use a +5 shield, the Aegis, right, which can turn his enemies to stone. It's got the Medusa head on it. He says he wields a spear that does 6 to 60 hit points of damage. And when his wounds spill on the earth, the blood forms a random 6th level monster. And this can happen once per round. So the more you hit him and the more you make him bleed, the more monsters come flying out. Right?
Shorter came to visit.
What is the cat's name, by the way?
Schrodinger.
Oh, there you go. And obviously he has a lot of levels in cleric and druid and fighter, magic user, illusionist, and all that good stuff. Okay, let's go to this guy. Hard to say, Quetzalcoatl, and even harder to spell. I didn't even try.
Yeah, I'm not attempting.
Yeah. So this guy obviously
-2 intelligence, so no thanks.
Yeah, it's like, the Central American mythos. This guy's pretty wild. He's got infinite move, 400 hit points, 75% magic resistance. He has a lot of levels and a lot of different things. 25th level cleric, 13th level druid. He's a 20th level paladin. He's also a 20th level magic user and illusionist, 20th level thief, and 20th level bard. So this guy can do everything. And he has 25s across the board. So very powerful deity, but he also has got this special power or attribute that he says he cannot be hurt by creatures of the same form he's using. So if he gets attacked by a magic user and he changes into a magic user, he can no longer be affected by that magic user, which is kind of cool.
Convenient.
Yeah, so that is pretty convenient. Then we have next on the list here at number 5 is Indra. He's from the Indian mythos, and look at the armor class that guy has, huh, Michael?
Yikes.
-12.
Yeah, -12, huh?
400 hit points. He has this +4 plate mail and a +4 shield, along with his his dexterity and everything. He's just massive armor class. 80% magic user, magic resistance, +3 or better weapon to hit. He's 25th level cleric, 14th level fighter. He's magic user illusionist. He's a bard. And just like the couple deities that we looked at before, he has 25s across the board in his attributes, right? Strength, intelligence, wisdom.
Yeah, his pronouns are kick and ass.
Yeah, kick ass. Exactly. He plies a bow made of rainbows, which shoots lightning bolts at a range of 2 per melee round, each doing 3 to 30 points of damage with 1,000-yard
range. She's progressive.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and he'll kick your ass.
Even back then, back in 77. 78.
Now we get into some of the more unorthodox deities after this. They're not so much like kings of the gods kind of thing, but these wild characters that appear in this book. And we're going to start with Azathoth, the center of the universe from the Cthulhu mythos. He is a greater god, 400 hit points, and number of attacks, 20. Each
Yeah.
one doing 3 to 18. It's good, do what's it like 300 points a round or something? What's 20 times 18? I don't even know.
A lot.
A lot, right? 95% magic resistance, this guy. So it is really difficult to hit him with any kind of spell. He's inconceivably large.
You have 5% to sneak something in there. I mean,
Sneak a magic missile in there.
Yeah. Or 1d4 hit points.
Yeah. He's inconceivably large because he's basically like the center of a galaxy.
Yikes. Well,
yeah, so he attacks as a 16 plus hit die monster because he's kind of he's mindless, right? If you look at his intelligence and wisdom, there's nothing there. It's like a force of nature, this like sentient, insane creature at the center of a galaxy. Any creature coming within 1,000 miles of Azathoth must save versus spells at -6 or go permanently mad. That says any creature. I mean, that's gods too. I mean, anybody. He even looks at this thing and you just go.
Yeah, what? And that's 1,000 miles. Holy.
Yeah,
holy moly.
Yep. Yeah. So, and then we go to the next one here, which I thought was kind of interesting. I might get arguments on this one, but Hel, the goddess of death from the Norse mythos. -5 AC. She has infinite move. Not as many hit points, 350, but a lot. She can attack with a +3 sword that does 5 to 50 hit points of damage and causes disease. 95% magic resistance. She is a 20th level cleric, 10th level druid, 12th level ranger, 15th level magic user, and illusionist. And she's a 15th level assassin. Okay, so she can definitely assassinate you. And she's a bard. Maybe she'll sing while she assassinates you.
Yeah.
Attributes obviously are very good, and she causes plagues and diseases and pestilence with wave of her hand. It says these things will afflict beings she looks at by taking away 5 hit points per round until they're dead or cured. So just basically being in her presence, you start suffering from horrible disease and start losing hit points. And there's an aura of withering that subtracts 20 hit points from all those not making their magical saving throw within 90 yards of her. And here's the kicker, which and this reason why I put her so high on the list, totally impervious to all physical injury. So unless you have spells or some special or psionics or some special way to get at her, and even then she has 95% magic resistance and she can't be hurt physically. Definitely one of the most powerful creatures in the whole book.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's even crazier creatures. There's 2 more. Death from the Neuen mythos. This guy is pretty wild. -5 AC, infinite move. Same number of hit points as Hel at 350. But look at this. Number of attacks, 10. 1 per segment. And his sword slays anything it touches. So he kills anything he touches, and he attacks 10 times per round.
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's death, right? But one interesting thing about this is this number of attacks, 1 per segment. This is, I think, the only time that phrase appears in AD&D in 1st edition. And it's important because it basically sets a limit of how many attacks any creature, including a divine being, can do in 1 combat round. Why is that important? Because, as we'll get to in a later episode, the surprise rules in AD&D are kind of broken. There's some typos in there, and there's some issues with the surprise rules. At one point, Gary wrote in the DMG that you could attack 3 times per round with missile fire with a given number of surprise segments and all this other stuff. And when I did the math, it came out to you could potentially get 12 attacks in 1 round.
Oh, well, thank goodness 5E.5 fixed all this.
Oh, yes, I know. So
include baking.
Obviously, that was wrong. Right. That was a broken rule that really does have to be house rule, because no character surprising somebody should get more attacks in 1 round than death. Right? Am I agreeing on that?
I would think so.
Yeah. So again, we'll talk about that in a later episode, but I thought this was interesting. Back to this guy. Magic resistance, again, 95%. And he has the most levels, most character class levels of any deity in the book. He is a 30th level cleric, 30th level fighter, 30th level magic user, 30th level illusionist, 15th level assassin, and 23rd level bard, which is crazy, right? The guy can do anything.
Well, what does this guy do on his day off? I mean,
he sits in his castle and in his dimension of death.
Seems like it'd get boring because no, I wouldn't go against this person. Like if we're running a game and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to fight death," I'm like, "Yeah, I'm noping out of this."
Yeah, exactly. It's funny too because it says in the text down there, it says he's referred to as a minor death. It's like if this dude is a minor death, I don't want to see the major death.
Yeah,
what major death look
like his dad or something like that. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. He's a man that appears with a cadaverous skin color. It's the power to know an entire past history of a being at a glance. So
Geez, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, but he only comes in at number 2. There is somebody worse than him.
All right, here we go.
Actually, not
worse. Drum roll.
In some ways better. Number 1. Who do you think it is? You're not going to get it. Who do you think it is?
Gene Simmons.
It's not Gene Simmons. It is Quan Yin. And it's like, wait, Quan Yin? Why is she like the most powerful creature in here? Well, I will explain. Her armor class looks pretty ordinary, -3. Okay, 376 hit points is a lot. Okay, then you get to magic resistance, 100%.
Well, there you go.
100% magic resistance. A bunch of levels, right? 25th level cleric, 14th level druid, 15th level bard, and her strength is only 8. So it's like, how can she be the most powerful creature? Well, let's read about her and find out. It says, Quan Yin appears as a slim young woman wearing green satin, and her main attribute is the ability to negate any single act of violence directed at anyone once per melee round. When a being accomplishes a good act affecting more than 50 or more worshippers of Quan Yin, and if the goddess is near, that being may be granted a wish, 5%. But here's the kicker. No act of violence can be directed towards her by any being in the universe. For example, she could walk safely through 500 different types of demons and devils and never be harmed. So she's literally, if she is within the universe, I guess prime material plane, if that's considered, right, like literally nothing, not even death, with his 10 attacks and his sword could affect Quan Yin. She could just sit there and smile and, I don't know, what would she do? Calligraphy? What would Quan Yin do in her spare time there?
Probably a little knitting and walking through hell, laughing, things like that. She's like totally, she's just going to do whatever she wants.
That's right.
Drop in on the devil every once in a while. It's like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, oh man.
I know. To show
have
up
some tea.
With a complaint. He reaches for his sword, then he realizes he can't do anything.
It's like, start Quan Yin again.
Start dissing Quetzalcoatl. Flips Odin off. Yeah, I mean, she could do all that, right?
Yeah, why not? No, that is. Now, act of violence. Now, can you accidentally kill her? I mean, if it's not an act of violence, how about if it's an act of kindness?
Killing her with kindness, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, is there something you could, we have to think about that. Is there a non-violent death that you could perform on this person that wouldn't, I don't know, it's weird.
You destroy herself?
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, as someone trying, I mean, why would you go against her? I mean, she seems actually lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's the goddess of mercy and childbearing.
Unless you're chaotic evil and you want to do it for clicks.
Maybe you could break her heart and then she destroys herself. But yeah.
Yes, I'm leaving you. I love you, but not in love with you.
Yeah, I mean, she has charisma 25, so like, I mean, you would have to be pretty Chad to get any. Quan Yin.
I'm almost 60. Those days are over.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
in fact, those days never even started for me, but you might have a good chance.
Nope. Quan Yin's out of everybody's league.
Ah,
So it would have to be another god, but
there you go.
maybe Gene Simmons.
Oh, well, he did snag share. I'm just saying.
Ooh, yeah. When was
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah.
Or Bowie.
Oh, yeah, Bowie. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah. But
when he
anyway,
has his eye patch on. It's like, oh,
that's
Quan
right.
Yin is like, oh, he's so mysterious.
That's right. That's right. So okay, well, yeah. So that is really all I had for this little episode. I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to do, just to jump in and talk about these gods from the Deities and Demigods book. There are other books, obviously, that deal with gods and goddesses and stuff in the whole universe of AD&D and Dungeons and Dragons, like in basic or like Rule Encyclopedia, that kind of thing. You had the oh boy, they had that book of immortals that came out. Wasn't the Immortal Storm? That was a module. It was the just Fury of the
It
God thing. It was like a
was
box.
something like that. I don't think I have that box set.
I have it. I wasn't going to talk about it today because it's a little bit off topic of, because
Right,
I want
right, right.
to book specifically. But yeah, we can talk about that book at a later date. So that
Oh,
that has
yeah.
wild creatures in it and stuff. I think there's one creature that's like the size of a galaxy or something. Just like total nightmare stuff. But
Yeah, I'd have to think, what scenario would you actually have to be in to actually fight something the size of a galaxy?
well, there's immortal rules,
Well,
right?
yeah, right. But
And
I mean,
you can become a god, right? And you can go up against just
so
otherworldly
like this
beings.
galaxy-sized creature kidnapped a princess, and then you have to go rescue her. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more kind of like Doctor Who level stuff at that point,
Okay, okay.
So, but
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Doctor Who, we should get Chad in on here to do a Doctor Who episode. I mean, that's his wheelhouse right there. So hopefully we'll
yeah,
get Chad on pretty soon.
I have the game Time Lord, like the RPG called Time Lord from back in like
Okay.
1990 or something. It came out with the Seventh Doctor. So that would be kind of wild. It's definitely a dead game. It'd be kind of cool to talk about that.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
didn't FAFSA have a Doctor Who?
Probably they did everything. I know they did Star
I think
Trek and
there were a bunch of Doctor Who games, but I thought FAFSA had one, and then of course there's a new one from like what, Cubicle 7. I have that one.
possibly.
It's pretty good.
Oh,
Lots of
okay.
stuff. So it's a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Doctor Who would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Cool.
I
So
know I don't know a lot. You guys will have to handle that show. I know the TV series that's about, well, Tom Baker. That's when I was watching it back in the day.
yeah,
And I know you're pretty versed in it because you still watch the new series. In fact, you really like the last season of Doctor Who. You were going on and on about it. I'm like, oh, it must be good.
yeah, maybe not. I didn't see the last season or the season before. I
Yeah, no,
saw.
I watched
Oh,
the people would review it, and that was more entertaining than the show. The Doctor cries a lot now,
yeah,
so I remember that a lot in the
that
Tom Baker episodes.
yeah.
He was always crying about something.
Uh,
Never, I don't think. But anyway,
someday it'll come back in its correct form, but we'll see.
oh sure,
But
well, the times they are changing now, so we'll see.
true. But okay. All right. Well, on that, yeah, I think I will wrap it up. If you like this stuff, hit the like button or whatever, or give us some, feedback at the comment section. Tell us what gods you think are more powerful than the ones I listed and why I'm wrong. And then, yeah, we can have a lively discussion. And with that, I'm signing off.
All right. See everyone later.
See you guys.